Hi, Attorney Bob Lightfoot here from Reinhardt Berner Van Duren with a weekly update of the week of September 13th. This is on visitation. So yesterday, interestingly, at the nursing home webinar by DHS Wisconsin, we, among other things, had the rollout of a new set of guidance on essential visitors in nursing homes. So essential visitor guidance for nursing homes. It looks like this. And you can find it on the nursing home section of the COVID-19 area. Pretty interesting guidance because it talks about opening up guidance a little or visitation a little bit here with designating certain individuals as essential visitors that can come in and see. I think the point of this is kind of one at a time. See, and along with that, they would like to have you develop a policy and procedure for this essential visitor, consult with a resident on who they want to be the essential visitor, then communicate with how your process is going to work with the essential visitor, notify the visitor when there's an outbreak, ensure that you have a procedure and that you follow that procedure, such as continue the screening for that person. Don't let them visit if they are COVID positive or don't pass the screen. They even talk about possibly testing the visitor with the antigen testing if possible, how to don and doff PPE, accommodating weekend and evening visitation, prohibiting if the resident's in quarantine, and restricting them, the essential visitor, if they don't follow your policies on social distancing, face coverings, any of that. So, very interesting. It's essential visitation. That happened yesterday, Thursday, on the 17th. I believe, unbeknownst to DHS, the same day last evening, a CMS memo came out. As you can see, it's QSO 20-39NH, and it's on nursing home visitation. It differs from the DHS Wisconsin guidance. Let's talk about that. First of all, they want to encourage you to do outdoor visitation as the first method of doing visitation. So you can use tents. They feel like, as with the safer visits in assisted living in Wisconsin, we know that the outdoor environment is less conducive to transmission. So I think that's one of the points. But, that's not on the essential visitation that DHS put out earlier. This is the CMS guidance. On indoor visitation, it's pretty clear it's not just restricted to one person, that facilities should accommodate now indoor visitation. The following guidelines do apply: that there's been no new onset of COVID in the last 14 days and there's no outbreak, and you're not conducting outbreak testing. The visitors must adhere to the core principles such as social distancing, face coverings, all of that. You should limit the number of visitors per resident at one time, but notice it says limit the number of visitors per resident. It doesn't say just one essential visitor like DHS. That's where they differ. So, in theory, CMS is saying you can allow more than one person at one time with the appropriate safeguards in place. Restrict length of time, try and restrict the number of visitors at one time, restrict their movement in the facility. That's something DHS Wisconsin didn't really talk about. For instance, don't let them walk around the halls, try and get them right to the resident room. I know we've talked about in other discussions having a room at the front of the facility if that's how you want to accommodate that and not have that visitation occur in the room. And again, they want you to determine visitation based on your county positivity rate. Now remember, you can find that on the CMS website, but I think it's easier just to go to the DHS website and find your county positivity ratings there. So if it's low and medium, if it flags as low and medium in your county, the visitation should occur based on core principles of infection control and your facility policies. If it's high, you only have, if it's a high transmission rate in the county, then you should only allow compassionate care visits. Remember, this is CMS guidance I'm talking about right here. They understand CMS says that they have different designations of visitors in some states, such as essential caregivers. That's very interesting because that's what CMS, or that's what DHS Wisconsin is calling it. And what they're saying is using a person-centered approach should cover all types of visitors, not just essential. So again, a very big divergence from what Wisconsin is telling us. Again, though, here's some similar things. When required or when not required, facilities may want to try and test visitors if possible. So you're talking about, in addition, again, using the social distancing, limiting personal contact, but interestingly, permitting it if possible. Permitting personal contact. You should only use appropriate infection guidelines and limit the amount of time that there is any personal contact. So this is very interesting stuff here on visitation. This memo goes so far as to say visitation really has to happen if you want to be in compliance. And the reason they're saying this is they're saying facilities may not restrict visitation without a reasonable clinical or safety cause. Again, that's very different from what we were told in the DHS webinar for nursing homes yesterday, Thursday. And to back that up, I can go to the end of the memo here and I can tell you the things if there's a complaint that you're going to be surveyed for. Resident communication, right to have visitors, maybe there's a restriction to an ombudsman, and then infection control practices. So again, very different. Now this memo even talks about permitting other healthcare workers and other service providers, which is something that hadn't really been talked about much before, but there is a paragraph about that. And there is a paragraph in here about adhering to principles of infection control for communal dining and saying that communal activities and dining may occur with appropriate social distancing and based on the COVID-19 infection status in the facility. It also says group activities may be facilitated. So, what we've got here is two sets of guidances now. We've got one from DHS, which is very prescriptive and really only wanting to have one person as an essential visitor come in. And then we've got this memo issued the same day from CMS that visitation should be opened up probably further than what DHS Wisconsin is contemplating. So I urge you to look at this memo, call me with any questions. One other point of fact is at the end of the memo, for the CMS memo, they do talk about the $3,000 per facility CMP funds that you may use, and they're talking about now not just using it for virtual visits, but for purchasing such things as dividers and tents for outdoor visitation to permit appropriate visitation. Clear dividers and tents. Now, I don't know, tents, that's not going to be too much longer here in Wisconsin with the weather changing as it has, but maybe physical barriers, maybe you can get some plexiglass. The one thing it doesn't say, it does not let you know that if you have used that $3,000 by buying iPads or something, if this is an additional $3,000, it doesn't say that. We'll have to get some clarification on that. So, very interesting development in visitation. Remember, stay safe, keep your residents safe. I hope you all are doing well. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I think you can see behind me, there's my contact information, or follow me on Twitter and be happy to